Welcome everyone to the 6th edition of the biggest anime scammers. A highly anticipated edition as the last episode was uploaded over 18 months ago. It wasn't even a regular episode of the series, it was more of a so-called special. Fully committed to Jujutsu Kaisen, as it was an extremely popular topic with immense interest at the time. In the 3rd edition of the biggest anime Mythbusters, which I uploaded 3 weeks ago if you haven't seen it yet, I said that if we reach the goal of 10,000 likes, but not in that video, but in the second part of another recent series on the channel about anime characters. With greater aura, I would finally upload the 6th edition of the biggest scammers in anime. Damn, how many videos did I just mention in 30 seconds? The best ninja spam in history. I'll leave the playlist in the description for those interested. The point is, the goal was more than achieved. So right now, just after finishing my almighty extensible stream, 3, which lasted 17 days on the Kick platform, I'm bringing you this video fresh and quickly. I think at this point, explanations aren't really necessary, but let's remember, just in case there are some confused folks or new viewers. What is a smoke seller character? Or what do we consider to be selling smoke? In reference to the world of manga and anime? Well, basically, it would be when a character gets us excited, scares us, or intimidates us. He may sell us an idea about himself that ultimately proves false, even if he's not the one promoting that image or idea. It can also be other characters, or even the creator can do it. The clearest example is always Shin from Dragon Ball. He was introduced as someone extremely badass and intimidating guy who was a mega powerful god and all that stuff. Just so that 3 Doritos later he was mistreated, beaten up, humiliated, and dragged around by absolutely every character who stood in his way. Being afraid of characters who by this point in the series were a joke, or being a total coward and a loser most of the time. Besides, they screwed him over without any mercy. Anyway, that being said, let's check out that delicious hype I've got prepared for you. And today I've got a very classic style episode for you, which I know you're going to love. Number 1 from Jesus. As it couldn't be any other damn way, we've talked about his dear little brother in the intro of the video. And since apparently selling hype like a real beast runs in the blood, there must be something like a hype gene or something like that. Here we have the good old Gesu, one of the antagonists we had in Akira Toriyama's latest work. Dragon Ball Daima, like the anime Gesu, was unsatisfactory. Frankly, I'm fond of the evil Kaioshin concept. It's not a novel idea. And no, my young viewer, it isn't. I'm not talking about moms, no, I'm talking right now to those who are damn old and disgusting grandpas like me. In the legendary Dragon Ball After Future by Toyotaro, Toriyama's most powerful soldier, we got a first look at an evil Kaioshin. In this case, it was that brat, the one with the lesbian haircut. Anyway, even though that story was kind of weird, the concept of crafting Goku's son without his consent was well received by fans in the past, despite the controversial nature of the idea. Like many things in Dragon Ball, the potential was there, but it wasn't properly utilized. With the Gesu, it was clear to me as soon as I saw him. As the saying goes, fool me once, it's your fault. Fool me twice, it's my fault. And I was perfectly aware that with the Gesu, there were 2 options. He was either the real deal, set to surprise everyone, or a fraud like his brother, only antagonistic. Ultimately, Gesu proved to be nothing more than a sycophant to the demon Pilaf, previously known as King Goma. Gesu spent the whole anime flattering the satanic dwarf, which wasn't very intimidating or respectable. Honestly, I feel like Rinsu, his sister, was the one who actually had the villain aura in the end. Another one who, in the end, wasn't really that big of a deal either. I've already mentioned that selling smoke must be genetic, however, Eren Su is a superior character. In fact, Gesu didn't even work as a comic character, since the only scene that could have been funny for the character was the joke that he had cross-dressed to get the fat bastard's belt. But he was just a thief hired by Goma. They then tried to give the character something, making him wonder, damn, does he reveal me? But the truth is that it was pretty ridiculous and bland, and it ended up being absolutely nothing. He tried to do a I'll do it, damn it, with Denda, but literally he was defeated by the hit of a hat. The truth is, there's no way to save this character. He couldn't even kill the baby. At least Shin is likable, he's nice, especially when he says, cousin, I'm scared, in the Hemispherio parodies, but he has nothing of Gesu, a completely mandatory spot on this list. I don't want him in the franchise again. Secondly, the gathering of Momo and Chokus and Arjen. No, I'm just kidding. Seriously, number 2 is Sukune. You know, old habits never die, my friends. As mentioned in the intro, today's episode features the classic style focusing on a Dragon Ball character. In this section, we couldn't miss one from Baki. Nomino Sukune, the most powerful sumo wrestler ever, is the main antagonist following Musashi Miyamoto in this case. In Baki's most controversial manga among the fandom, Baki-Do, which honestly, in my completely personal opinion, is almost 90% pure garbage. It's full of scenes, fights, and redemption. But it's true that, even as a fan of Baki for more than 7 years, it was a story that felt really, really heavy to me. The thing is that Sukune had the bad luck of coming after Miyamoto, the most powerful and dangerous antagonist seen in Baki. Since Yujiro Hanma, it was Sukune's turn with the so-called sumo arc. Almost all of us agreed that it was an arc that felt like filler. It's not, because it's canon, but it's not a transitional arc either, since the story doesn't need that kind of arc. So the conclusion is that if it's not filler or transitional, it simply means that it's plain and simple. A poor story arc that unfortunately mimics the structure of a previous subpar arc. The Raitai tournament and Muhammad Ali Jr. arcs from Baki were incredibly disappointing, but Sukune's was arguably worse. It's unclear why Itagaki redid the Ali Jr. arc. Perhaps he was unsatisfied with the original result, which was understandable since it was subpar. However, the second attempt only exacerbated the issues. It's like when you think you got a test question wrong, erase your answer to write a new one, but mess it up even more. Even worse than the previous one. This feels familiar, with a tournament structure similar to the Chinese Raitai, but here, it's an unsightly sumo tournament instead. None of the characters have a noteworthy level. Everyone in this tournament is subpar. The Raitai tournament had Kakukayo, but there's no one of that caliber here. The only strong and remarkable one in the end is Nomino Sukune himself, who follows the same path as Ali Jr., who at first seemed super, mega strong, and invincible. But after his first defeat, he starts a spiral of beatings and unstoppable, unending humiliations. Sukune was out there showing off, beating up legendary characters like Oliva as if he were a useless little kid. Even that bastard Sukune called Oliva skinny. He told him, "You're horribly skinny," to the damn Oliva. What Sukune did was incredible. He destroyed him. Absolutely, the whole cast was around, flirting with reporters, acting all cocky until he finally met his match. Jack, the cyborg Hama, gave the big guy a brutal beating, completely destroying him. Following this loss, Sukune never bounced back. Oliva decisively defeated him in a rematch, and ultimately, Baki utterly humiliated him. In the end, Sukune turned out to be an overhyped character who amounted to nothing, ultimately being defeated and completely written out of the series. Since he lost his relevance and his current whereabouts and future role in the story by Itagaki are unknown. It's a shame because, honestly, I actually like Sukune quite a bit. His personality, slightly trollish, laid back, a bit cocky yet approachable and confident, was likable. But the way Itagaki used this character, man, should that be a criminal offense? I'm sorry, Sukune, but you were all hype. They beat you up so bad, they even bit off one of your fingers. Only to be completely forgotten and ignored afterwards. You totally deserve your spot here. Number 3, Kenyaku. We were all wondering if he was coming with this character. I created a special dedicated to the scammers of Jujutsu Kaisen. It was well deserved. But what happens with this character breaks any kind of expectation or record. The disappointment we had with this character, I think, can't really be measured with words. Yes, I'll give you 2 things. The first is that it's true this son of a bitch really stirred up a lot of trouble. No one can take that away from him. And the second is that for the most part, the problem was the expectations we ourselves built around this character. That's true, but that doesn't change the fact that his sudden death was a complete waste. We anticipated this character would do more, have a trick up his sleeve, and continue wreaking havoc. Even his presence made me think that maybe, just maybe, Sukune wouldn't really be the final boss, since there was that other character around who could go out of control. I can't recall the details, but he could become a really serious threat. I thought it was something that Kenyaku could end up doing, or at least try to do. Otherwise, I didn't see the reason why this character was still around here. Anyone would have thought that at least he would die at the hands of someone with a closer relationship to him. Somehow, like Goyo, for example. But he didn't get taken out abruptly and without warning. By Yuta, and yes, it's not because Yuta killed him. Since we understand that Yuta is one of the most overpowered characters in the series. Losing to someone like that doesn't make you a fraud. Otherwise, Yugo would be a huge fraud, and that's not the case. He was pretty strong and had a lot of guts. In this case, though, it's mostly because of how lifeless and soulless all of this is. That Utah just kills him like that out of nowhere, and that's it for the character. It's lame and meaningless, adding nothing of value. And it's like Gege is just tying up loose ends in a rush because he doesn't feel like writing this thing anymore. And that's exactly how the ending of Jujutsu feels overall. It's like Gege had several ideas, several open threads to set up something big or risky. But in the end, he backed out. Did he think it was a bad idea, or did he just get cosmically lazy? I don't know, but the truth is that it was a very empty way to get rid of such an important character. And also, I honestly feel that he could have given so much more. It saddens me, but that's how the Essence wanted it, Wimp, whether you like it or not. So that's how most things end up in this manga, not really bad, but pretty bland. A real shame about Kenyaku. And that's it for the 6th edition of the biggest hype makers in anime. I hope you enjoyed it. Please leave a like if you did.